Readings of Almighty God's words on the pursuit of the truth. How to pursue the truth. 27. Last time, we fellowshipped on the topic of God incarnate, not scheming, within the subject of not putting the incarnate God on a par with corrupt humankind. Today, we will fellowship on the topic of not attacking others. Not attacking others is part of the essence and living out possessed by the normal humanity of God incarnate, and is one of the principles that the conscience and reason of normal humanity follow when treating people. That is, God incarnate can, at the very least, get along peacefully with you. No matter what type of person you are, whether you are someone with better caliber or poorer caliber, or someone with better humanity or poorer humanity, the incarnate God can treat you correctly and get along with you amicably. If I discover that you have some defect or flaw, or even that you have some bad essence within your humanity, or that you've committed some evil deed, I will fellowship with you frankly if there is an opportunity or if conditions permit. If you can accept it, I will frankly expose your problems and point out the path to resolve them to you. But if you cannot accept it, I might, at an appropriate time, make use of a real-life problem I have discovered to remind you, expose you, and alert you, letting you know what your problem is, whether it is a problem with your humanity, your caliber, or a corrupt disposition of yours. Based on what problem you have, I will remind and admonish you, letting you know your inadequacies or where your problem lies, and then I will tell you what the essence of this kind of problem is and what God's attitude toward people who have this problem is. If you are willing to accept it and are able to rebel against the flesh and practice the truth, I will tell you the path of practice and how to treat and resolve this kind of problem. I will not seize upon your problems and flaws as leverage against you or as weak spots to exploit, and then, from time to time, mock or ridicule you or make snide remarks about them. I will not do that. I will treat you and your existing problems justly and objectively. If I give you some reminders, but you lack awareness and do not feel that what I've said has anything to do with you, or if I tell you that the nature of your problem is serious, but you do not accept it, and you reject it, resist, and even come up with excuses to argue and to justify yourself, then I will assess things according to the situation. If the work you do is very important and your problem has affected the church's work, then I will consider whether you are suitable for this duty. But if you are just an ordinary believer, and the duty you do and your manifestations do not have much impact on the church's work or God's chosen people, and it's just your personal problem, then I will offer you reminders and help out of goodwill. If you do not take it seriously, I will not bear any grudge toward you. And of course, I will not try every possible means to force you to accept it. I will treat this matter very rationally, and I will continue to offer you reminders and help out of goodwill. If I can see that the essence of your problem will lead to negative consequences for yourself or others, then, prompted by my conscience, I will offer you reminders and help out of goodwill, rather than just watch you make a fool of yourself. I will also not casually characterize you, saying, "You are hopeless, God detests you, and you are one who will perish." Much less will I just open my mouth and curse you, saying, "You devil, you descendant of Satan, you who resist God." I will absolutely not do this. Because my identity is special, I often restrain myself very rationally. How I treat someone and how I speak to them must depend on who they are. This is one aspect. Additionally, I mustn't casually characterize anyone. And for another thing, through my tone of voice, choice of words, or phrasing, I must make the other person feel that what I say and do is out of goodwill and free of malice. As for my motive, I am sincerely trying to help you. I don't want to see you take detours, nor do I want to see you become weak, hesitant, or even lose your bearings or go astray when you encounter things. Instead, I hope that after I've fellowshipped and helped you, you can view yourself correctly, avoid falling into negativity, have an accurate understanding of your corrupt dispositions and the problems you have, and treat yourself correctly, and then seek a path of practice from God's words, and resolve your corrupt dispositions and your problems bit by bit according to God's words, while also getting along amicably with others and helping them. That is, I strive to ensure that what I say and do when interacting with people can enable them to understand God's intentions, know what principles God requires of people, what God's attitudes and viewpoints are toward the various problems people have, how people should handle these problems in order to meet God's requirements and satisfy God, and how they should seek the truth to resolve their problems. My aim is to help people correctly treat and resolve these problems when dealing with all kinds of people, events, and things, and when their corrupt dispositions are revealed, the ultimate result being that they submit to the truth and to God. Of course, based on the variety of people I have come into contact with over these years of working and speaking, I have come to recognize one fact. No matter how calmly I speak and converse with people, how much goodwill I have, or what kind of mentality I have in wanting to help anyone, very few people can sense or understand what I say and the reason why I say it. And then, through the words I spoke and the content I fellowshipped with them, make progress or gain real practical help in their real lives. But no matter how much people ultimately reap and gain through communicating and interacting with me, my principles for interacting with people do not change. Some people say, "Then why don't you change your method?" Tell me, why don't I change my method? Should I change my method? When speaking to people, should I speak from a lofty position, as if proclaiming the 10 Commandments to Moses? Should my voice be like thunder in the sky, or should I adopt some kind of tone so that people will be afraid, easily remember what I say, and be willing to practice and able to submit? Or when communicating with people, if I always speak to them in a tone of cursing and characterizing them, will people then learn their lesson? Will they then be able to accept it?
No.
Do you know why not? Back when Jehovah issued the 10 Commandments through Moses, the Israelites heard the sound of thunder in the sky and saw lightning. Did this stop them from rebelling against and judging Jehovah? Regardless of the method you use to speak, the content of your words, or your motive in speaking, as far as the receiver is concerned, if they subjectively have the willingness and need to accept the truth and love positive things, if they have this need in their heart, then no matter what method you use to speak, they will be able to accept it and will easily remember it. However, if they do not have this need in their heart, then even if they know what positive things and negative things are, they will still not accept anything you say or take it to heart, no matter how correct it is, or how sound its source and motive are. Therefore, from my perspective, my principle for doing these things is that I fellowship normally with anyone. As for what one can gain and reap from me, and whether they can gain the truth, the key lies in whether they love the truth, and also in whether they have the needs of normal humanity. If they innately love positive things, then when I interact and converse with them normally like this, they will be able to ponder what I said, what the principles behind these words are, and what I enjoined them to do. They will ponder these things afterward, keep them in mind, and then practice according to these words. If this person has no need for positive things in their humanity, then no matter what I say, it's useless. Even if I prune them, discipline them, or even chasten them, it doesn't do anything. After being chastened, they might act well-behaved and obedient on the outside, but because they have no need for positive things in their heart, once things have moved on, they will quickly return to how they were before, without any trace of positive words, positive things, or truth principles in their heart. Therefore, for people like this, no matter how much you say, you cannot change them so that they develop the needs of normal humanity. This is one aspect. In addition, not attacking others is basically one of my principles for how I treat you. No matter what type of person you are, whether you pursue the truth or not, even if I expose a certain problem of yours, it is merely to dissect the essence of this problem so that you can understand and know it thoroughly. Make progress in the course of doing your duty in the future. Stop making the same mistakes, and stop disturbing or undermining the church's work. It is to help you, not to make trouble for you or find something to use against you. So, even if I bring up things that happened in the past, it's not to dampen your enthusiasm or to hurt you, but to enable you to know the essence of your problems, achieve a thorough understanding of a certain aspect of the truth, have an understanding of yourself, know how to act in accordance with God's intentions, and ultimately practice accurately according to the principles of God's words. Do you have any appreciation of the fact that God incarnate never attacks others? Besides not attacking others, God incarnate also encourages people from time to time. Some people have immature statures and are fragile. They're not so strong in terms of their humanity. They lack perseverance in doing things, or they're often constrained by all sorts of things, do not know how to seek the truth, and cannot do their duties normally. Under such circumstances, I will give them some encouragement to let them see the path ahead. so that they will no longer find themselves trapped within some matter and constrained by it. When you hear these words of encouragement, you may feel that what I speak of is beyond your reach, but my aim is to help you let go of the baggage brought on by your thoughts and notions. No longer be constrained by those things and leave them behind, and then put all your strength into your duty to satisfy God's intentions. Some people have walked paths of failure before, or done things that violate the principles of God's house, or had some obvious rebellious behaviors. And some people have even caused disruptions and disturbances with their actions, causing some losses to the church's work. If I occasionally mention these things in my fellowship, my purpose is not to dampen your enthusiasm, nor am I bearing a grudge. Rather, my purpose is to use the facts of your case as an example to remind others to not make the same mistakes. My purpose is to fellowship clearly on an aspect of the truth, to let more people see from this that the path you walked is wrong and how it is wrong, so they can draw lessons from it, and then to warn more people to not walk the same path, and to remind them what principles they should abide by in doing things. Especially when fellowshipping on and exposing people's various corrupt dispositions. The examples I give, or a specific state I fellowship on, might involve many people, or might involve some specific people and things. The purpose of fellowshipping on these things is not to find an opportunity to lay you bare and embarrass you. As for the facts I bring up or the states I expose, they only have bearing on the topic and the aspect of the truth we're fellowshipping on. It may be that I do not know you personally, and I don't know that such a thing has happened to you. But the example I gave, or the state I exposed, happens to have occurred in you, and you match yourself up with it. When some people match themselves up with such things, they think, "Did someone tell on me? How do you know that this thing happened to me, and that I had this problem and was in this state?" I say that I really do not know that this kind of thing happened to a particular person or that they were in this kind of state. But the truths I fellowship on involve, or the problems I expose include, this state, this kind of problem, or this specific type of example. Because this kind of state and this specific type of example are representative, and can sufficiently allow people to know certain kinds of people, events, and things, and to know the essence of a certain kind of person. When giving examples, I cannot avoid citing some specific incidents that have occurred in the church or discussing certain specific states. As such, it's unavoidable that some people, events, and things will be involved. But I don't have the slightest intention of attacking certain people. My aim is just to remind and exhort people, allowing the majority of God's chosen people to benefit. When I give some examples while delivering sermons and fellowshipping, it's not directed at any particular person at all. It's simply to fellowship on the truth and to expose the essence of a certain problem, so that you can be clearer on and better understand the essence of the problem. Through understanding the essence of the problem, whether you identify yourself as having this problem, or whether you see through the people, events, and things involved, you can come to practice according to the corresponding truth principles. Use them to resolve the problems within yourself, and achieve entry into the truth reality. No matter what kind of problem I fellowship on, whether it's a problem that exists within you or a problem that exists within others, I do it only to fellowship on the truth and to help you better understand the essence and reality of a certain kind of problem. It's not directed at any specific individual or any specific kind of person. Of course, it's also possible that the archetype for the example I give when fellowshipping on a problem is something that happened to you, and I made use of this matter to provide an example. But in giving this example, I am not exposing a problem that is yours alone. Rather, your problem is representative of the problems found in everyone, in all humankind. Of course, the purpose of exposing the problem is only to resolve the problem, not to attack you. So, when you encounter this kind of situation, you should treat it correctly. This is my job. My job is, in one respect, to provide you with all the truths, all aspects of the truth. And in another, it is to expose the problems within you, the various states of corrupt humankind, and all the corrupt dispositions within them, as well as the problems involving corrupt dispositions. This is my job, because my job, apart from providing the truth, also includes exposing the reality of corrupt humankind's corruption. When it comes to this work, my motives are good. I want to help and support you, remind you and provide for you, so that you can see clearly the essence of the problem and become able to rebel against your corrupt dispositions, so that you no longer live within your corrupt dispositions, but are able to turn yourselves around. Let go of the evil in your hands, repent to God, and practice according to the principles required by God, achieving submission to the truth and submission to God.